As President Trump threatens military action against another country, this time Nigeria, saying, and I quote him, "If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet." CNN is learning what sparked Trump's ire against Nigeria. It came down to a segment on Fox, and Elena Trine is out front live from the White House. And Elena, pretty incredible that would be the case here. What have you learned?
Yeah, well, what I was told, Aaron, from two sources who are familiar with how this all happened was that the president was headed to Florida on Friday. He was watching Fox News on the big screen, and essentially he saw this segment that Fox was doing on how Christians were being targeted by Islamic groups in Nigeria. And very quickly after that, one of the sources says it was immediate that it sparked some anger in him, and he began to inquire about it, asking his staff to be better read on it. But what was interesting was that shortly after he had touched down on Air Force One, he had just taken the Beast, his presidential motorcade, to Mar-a-Lago, is when you saw that first post from him, and it read,
"Hey everyone, John here. Welcome. So this is what just happened, guys. Fox News, long treated as Trump's personal propaganda arm, is now turning against him in real time on live television in a full-scale rebellion that's making things exponentially worse. The mutually beneficial relationship that gave Trump unwavering support and Fox exclusive access is fracturing before millions of viewers. But that entire arrangement is shattering right now, and it's happening on live television in front of millions of viewers who have watched Fox for years as Trump's most loyal media ally. The cracks started small, barely noticeable, but now they're massive, undeniable, and absolutely devastating for the president who built his political career on media dominance. Let me paint you a picture of just how dramatically things have shifted. The network that was supposed to be Trump's fortress has become increasingly hostile territory. The hosts who used to nod along to everything he said are now pushing back hard. The anchors who used to ask softball questions are now grilling White House spokespeople about racist content Trump has shared.
Quote, "Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter." He went on to add that he wants to make Nigeria a, quote, "country of particular concern." Now, what was interesting about this is, of course, for anyone who was paying attention to his Truth Social over the weekend, this became a major focal point of hers on Saturday and Sunday as well. He talked about potential military action in the region. And he was also asked directly last night when he was flying back on Air Force One if that could mean potential U.S. boots on the ground or strikes in Nigeria. And the president did not rule it out. But I will say, Aaron, in one of my conversations with people in the Trump administration, they essentially told me that a lot of this is the president making threats to see how Nigeria will respond. One of them said it was a, quote, "art of the deal" type of strategy that he is deploying here. And they've tried to argue that in some ways it's working. You know, the media is giving more attention to it. But all of this comes, as we know as well, that the Pentagon...
The commentators who used to defend him no matter what are now calling him weak and spiraling on air. The graphics department is flashing his disastrous approval ratings on screen for everyone to see. And the producers are literally cutting him off mid-rant because they just can't take it anymore. It's like watching a king discover that his most loyal subjects have turned against him. But instead of swords and armies, they're using fact checks and tough questions. And the worst part for Trump, he can't do anything about it. He's trapped. He needs Fox more than Fox needs him now. Let's start with the moment that really exposed how far this relationship has deteriorated. Trump shared a racist video on social media that depicted Barack and Michelle Obama as cartoon apes. This wasn't subtle. This wasn't ambiguous. This was raw, ugly racism that most major politicians wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole.
The president had directed his Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, to look into this. They have begun moving now some personnel back to the region after they had told them to leave essentially a year ago. And so we have to see where this could all lead.
All right, Elena, thank you very much. All that new reporting from Elena.
The State Department has designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern over claims by President Trump that the Nigerian government is not doing enough to protect Christians from terror groups like Boko Haram. Sources tell CNN Trump has been laser focused on the treatment of Christians in the African country after a report he saw on Fox News while traveling aboard Air Force One. And just 24 hours later, he posted on Truth Social that the United States will cut off aid and go into Nigeria guns a-blazing. He confirmed the possibility of military intervention to reporters.
Can you visit U.S. boots on the ground? Because Could be. I mean, a lot of things I envisage, a lot of things. They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria. They're killing the Christians. They're killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen.
But Trump shared it. He amplified it to his millions of followers. He put it out there for the world to see. And then Fox News did something that nobody expected. Laura Ingraham, one of the network's most consistently pro-Trump hosts, brought on a White House spokesperson and just went after them. She didn't let them dodge. She didn't let them deflect. She pinned them down with direct, uncomfortable questions. Why did the president share this video? Why is he promoting racist content? Why is he amplifying racist tropes? And the spokesperson was completely unprepared. They weren't expecting Fox to ask these questions. They were used to Fox being a safe space where they could say anything without pushback. But Ingraham wouldn't let up. She kept pressing. She kept asking follow-ups. She made it crystal clear that this wasn't acceptable. And the whole thing was happening on Trump's favorite network, to Trump's favorite audience, in prime time.
The White House tells CNN that President Trump has been tracking this issue for some time, even before the segment, and had already considered posting about it. Nigeria is a country of 230 million people, equal parts Christian and Muslim, and both Muslims and Christians have fallen victim to violence from terrorist groups like Boko Haram. But some high-profile killings targeting Christians this year have drawn the attention of President Trump and many Republicans, including an attack on a predominantly Christian farming community located on a very crucial area of farmland that killed at least 100 people. Joining me now is founder and executive director of the National Security Institute, Jamil Jaffer, and CNN military analyst, retired Colonel Cedric Layton. Let's talk about the scope of the issue. Trump is saying that Nigeria is allowing the slaughter of Christians. Do we know if this is true and the extent this might be happening?
Well, certainly Nigeria is not allowing the slaughter of Christians or Muslims for that matter. In fact, the Nigerian government is working very hard within the resource constraints that they have.
Millions of loyal Fox viewers watched as their trusted host grilled the White House about the president sharing racist content. And that changes things. That cracks the foundation. Because here's what you have to understand. When CNN or MSNBC criticizes Trump, his base just dismisses it as fake news. They don't believe it. They don't trust it. They assume it's just the liberal media attacking their guy. But when Fox News criticizes Trump, when Laura Ingraham confronts the White House about racism, that's different. That penetrates the bubble. That makes Trump supporters question their support in a fundamental way. That's the kind of thing that can actually change minds and shift opinions.
To actually fight Boko Haram, which is the main group that is actually attacking mainly Christians, but they're also attacking Muslims in the northern part of the country. So what you're seeing is really a state trying to provide counterinsurgency forces to the region and trying to engage in counterinsurgency operations. Success? No, they're not there yet. They definitely have some problems taking care of this from a mission standpoint. But the issue is that the Nigerian government needs help, not an occupying force to come in there.
Boko Haram has been a terror for a very long time. The Nigerian government has responded, and they're actually shocked. They're mulling an invasion into their country for this very reason. What is the best course of action to deal with what's going on?
Yeah, well, look, there are really two or three different issues going on in Nigeria. You've got Boko Haram in the north, you've got bandits in the northwest, you've got a fight between farmers and herders, people who are nomadic tribesmen who have long been in conflict. It's really...
And that was just the beginning. There's been a moment where Fox literally cut Trump off during a live call. He was on the phone with a host, probably ranting about election fraud or the deep state or whatever was on his mind that day. He was going on and on, not stopping, just talking and talking. And Fox just decided enough was enough. The host wrapped up the call, moved on to the next segment, and cut the president off. Then another Fox personality joked about it on air, saying he's still talking with a laugh, like they were mocking him, like they were making fun of the fact that he wouldn't shut up. Can you imagine the humiliation? The president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, being cut off by his own network and then mocked on air for talking too long. It's the kind of thing that would have been unthinkable just a year ago. But now it's happening on live television for millions of people to see. And Trump has to sit there and watch it happen, knowing he can't do anything about it. Then there's the approval rating graphic. Fox News flashed Trump's approval rating on the screen and it said 38%. That's a nosedive nosedive. That's the worst approval rating of his entire second term. And the commentators were saying he's unraveling in real time. They were saying it based on his recent exchanges with reporters, his combative press conferences, his increasingly erratic behavior. And the chyron, the text that runs across the bottom of the screen, was literally calling him weak and spiraling. Think about what that means. Fox News, the network that has been Trump's most loyal media ally, was running a graphic that said he was spiraling. They were telling their viewers that the president is weak and unraveling. They were putting it in writing on the screen for everyone to see. That's not a small thing. That's a massive shift in how Fox is covering Trump. And here's why this is so dangerous for Trump. Fox reaches his base. Fox reaches the voters who actually support him. Fox is where they get their news. Fox is where they form their opinions about what's happening in the country. So when those voters turn on their TV and see Fox hosts fact-checking Trump, cutting him off, mocking him, asking tough questions about racist videos, and showing his declining approval rating that penetrates the bubble in a way that nothing else can, it makes people question their support. It makes them wonder if maybe some of the things they've heard about Trump are actually true. It makes them think twice before defending him. And that's the real danger for Trump right now, not criticism from CNN or MSNBC, which he can dismiss as fake news, but criticism from Fox, which his base trusts. When Fox turns on Trump, even in these small ways, it's way more dangerous than any attack from the left. Let's understand the relationship that's now falling apart. Trump has always had a very specific dynamic with Fox News. He treats it like his personal propaganda network. He goes on constantly. He calls into shows at all hours. He tweets about the hosts constantly, praising them when they support him and attacking them when they don't. He demands loyalty from them. And for years, Fox provided exactly what he wanted. The network gave him softball interviews that sometimes lasted for hours. The hosts defended him against all his critics. They pushed back aggressively against his opponents. They helped him control the narrative completely. It was the perfect symbiotic relationship for both of them. Trump needed a network that would always have his back no matter what. And Fox needed Trump for ratings, relevance, and audience engagement. So they had this deal, an understanding that Trump would go on Fox constantly, give them exclusive access, treat them like they were his favorite network, and Fox would give him friendly coverage in return. But something has fundamentally shifted. Something has changed in recent months, and you can see it happening in real time on live television. Fox hosts are starting to push back. They're starting to ask hard questions that Trump doesn't want to answer. They're starting to report facts that directly contradict Trump's claims. They're starting to distance themselves from him publicly on air. They're starting to create separation between themselves and the president. And all of this is creating a really tense dynamic where Trump still expects the network to be his safe space, but the network is increasingly acting like a real news organization that has to consider legal liability and credibility. Now let's get into some of the specific moments that have really exposed this fracture, because they're absolutely brutal and they keep getting worse. The racist video moment I mentioned earlier is the perfect example of how Fox is now holding Trump accountable in ways they never did before. Laura Ingraham, who is generally pro-Trump, brought on a White House spokesperson and just grilled them. She asked direct questions about why the president was promoting racist content, and the spokesperson was completely unprepared. They were used to Fox being a safe space where they could just deflect and move on, but Ingraham wouldn't let them. She kept pressing. She kept asking follow-ups. She made it clear that this wasn't acceptable, and the whole thing was happening on Trump's favorite network in prime time. This is significant because it shows that even Fox has limits. Even Fox's most pro-Trump hosts have a line they're not willing to cross. When Trump amplifies racist content, it becomes a problem for Fox because Fox has corporate sponsors, advertisers, and legal exposure. If they're seen as endorsing or ignoring racist content, that's a serious problem for their business. So Fox can't just ignore it or defend Trump. They have to call it out. They have to create distance from it. And that means confronting Trump on live television. And that's bad for Trump because his base is watching. His supporters are seeing their favorite Fox hosts questioning Trump, and that makes them question their own support. Then there's the Brian Kilmeade situation. Kilmeade is one of the most consistently pro-Trump personalities on Fox. He's been loyal to Trump through everything. He's defended him on every controversy. But even Kilmeade is pushing back now. Trump unveiled these plaques that mocked Joe Biden and Barack Obama, and Kilmeade came on air and said he's not not for it. He said he's not supporting it. He openly criticized Trump on Fox and Friends, the show that's supposed to be the friendliest Trump show on the entire network. And he was telling viewers on air that he disagrees with what Trump did. That's a big deal because Kilmeade's credibility with Trump's base is really strong. He's a familiar face. He's someone they trust. And if Kilmeade is criticizing Trump, that makes other Trump supporters feel like they can criticize him too. That's how you crack the base. That's how you create permission for people to question their support. When someone like Kilmeade says he disagrees with Trump, it gives others permission to do the same. And then there's the Neil Cavuto moment. Cavuto actually cut away from a Trump rally to fact-check Trump in real time. So Trump was giving a speech at a rally, making claims about the stock market, making claims about voter fraud, the usual stuff. And Cavuto was watching this on air. And instead of letting Trump's claims stand unchallenged, Cavuto cut away from the rally and fact-checked him on live television. He said Trump is entitled to his opinions, but not to his own set of facts. He pointed out that Trump-appointed judges had found no evidence of a rigged election. He directly contradicted Trump's claims with facts on live television in front of millions of viewers. And Cavuto is a Fox News anchor. He's supposed to be part of the Trump-friendly ecosystem. But instead, he was fact-checking Trump and telling viewers that Trump was lying. That's a stunning shift in how Fox covers the president. They're no longer just letting him say whatever he wants without challenge. They're actively pushing back and correcting the record. These moments are adding up. Each one is a crack in the facade. Each one shows that Fox is not going to be Trump's shield anymore. Each one demonstrates that even on Fox, even on what should be Trump's home turf, he's not safe anymore. He's going to get challenged. He's going to get cut off. He's going to get fact-checked. And that's changing the dynamic between Trump and the network in fundamental ways. Trump is getting angry about all of this. He's lashing out at Fox on social media. He's complaining that they're not treating him fairly. He's suggesting that he might go to other networks. He's threatening to abandon Fox completely. But the problem is he can't actually abandon Fox because Fox is where his base is. Fox is the network that reaches the voters he needs. So he's stuck. He needs Fox, but Fox is no longer giving him the uncritical support he's used to. Now let's talk about why this is happening. Fox is taking these steps because they have real legal and financial incentives to do so. Fox has already paid out massive defamation settlements because they spread misinformation about election fraud and election integrity. They learned the hard way that there are serious legal and financial consequences for pushing false claims without fact-checking and without providing context. Fox faced billions in potential liability over their election coverage. So now when Trump makes claims about voter fraud or about election integrity or about the stock market, Fox is more careful. Fox is more cautious. Fox is more likely to fact-check his claims. Fox is more likely to provide context. Fox is more likely to bring in experts who will contradict what Trump is saying, because Fox has learned that defending Trump's false claims is really expensive. It costs them money. It exposes them to legal liability. It puts their operating license at risk. So Fox is adjusting their behavior accordingly. And that means Trump is not going to get the same kind of uncritical amplification that he used to get from Fox. The network that was once his most powerful ally is now a source of constant frustration and embarrassment, and there's nothing he can do about it. What we're witnessing is the unraveling of a partnership that has defined American politics for years. Trump and Fox News built a mutually beneficial relationship over a long period of time. Trump needed a friendly media outlet that would defend him and promote him. Fox needed Trump for ratings and relevance and audience engagement. But that relationship is breaking down because the fundamental incentives have changed. Trump is making increasingly wild and false claims. Fox is facing real legal and financial pressure to fact-check those claims and provide accurate information. And so Fox is pushing back. They're establishing distance from Trump. They're showing Trump in a negative light. They're refusing to amplify his false claims. And that's creating these moments of confrontation on live television that are absolutely devastating for Trump's image and credibility. Every time Fox cuts Trump off mid-rant, every time they fact-check his claims on air, every time they show his declining approval rating, every time Laura Ingraham grills his his team about racist videos, all of that chips away at his image and authority. All of that undermines his sense of control. All of that makes his supporters question whether they should still be supporting him. And you can't put that genie back in the bottle. You can't undo a moment that aired on live television to millions of people. You can't convince people that they didn't see what they saw. You can't make them forget. So each one of these moments is permanent damage, and they're stacking up. They're accumulating. They're multiplying. And over time, they're going to have a real impact on Trump's political viability and his ability to maintain the coalition that supports him. This is what losing control of the narrative looks like in real time. This is what it looks like when the coalition that built you up and supported you starts to turn on you. Fox News wasn't supposed to be the problem. Fox News was supposed to be the solution. Fox News was supposed to amplify your message and defend you against critics. But instead, Fox is fact-checking you and creating distance from you and showing you in a negative light. And that's a nightmare scenario for a president who depends on that network to reach his base. Let's break down exactly why this is so devastating for Trump and what it means for his political future. First, you have to understand that for Trump, Fox News turning on him, even partially, even in these isolated moments, is way more dangerous than criticism from any other outlet. Because Trump's base doesn't trust mainstream media. They don't trust CNN. They don't trust MSNBC. They dismiss those networks as fake news and enemy territory. But they trust Fox. Fox is their news source. Fox is where they get their information. Fox is where they form their opinions about what's happening in the country. So when Fox fact-checks Trump, when Fox calls Trump out on racism, when Fox shows Trump's declining approval rating, when Fox brings on commentators saying Trump is unraveling, that penetrates the base in a way that criticism from CNN or MSNBC never could. It makes Trump supporters question their support in a fundamental way. It makes them wonder if maybe some of the things they've heard about Trump are actually true. It cracks the information bubble that has protected Trump politically. And a cracked bubble is incredibly dangerous for a president who depends on that bubble to stay in power and maintain his coalition. These moments on live television are really powerful because they're visceral and immediate. They're not abstract arguments or political commentary. You can literally watch them happen in real time. You can see Laura Ingraham pressing the White House spokesperson on the racist video. You can hear the Fox host laughing about cutting Trump off mid-rant. You can see the chyron flashing Trump's 38% approval rating on the screen. You can watch Neil Cavuto interrupting a Trump rally speech to fact-check his claims. These are concrete images and moments that get replayed repeatedly. They go viral on social media. They show up in news roundups. They get clipped and shared. They define the narrative around Trump for viewers who see them. And each one makes Trump look weaker and more desperate. Each one shows that he's losing control of the narrative. Each one demonstrates that even the networks that were supposed to have his back are now turning on him and holding him accountable. That's devastating for a president who built his entire political brand on projecting strength and dominating the media landscape. Third, this creates a really difficult strategic situation for Trump politically. He needs Fox. He desperately needs the reach that Fox provides. He needs access to Fox's audience of millions of loyal conservative viewers. He needs Fox to amplify his message to his base. But Fox is no longer guaranteeing him friendly coverage. Fox is no longer protecting him from criticism. Fox is now fact-checking him. Fox is now calling him out on camera. Fox is now showing negative information about him. So Trump has to make a difficult decision. Does he accept this new reality and try to work with Fox even though they're not as friendly and protective anymore? Or does he abandon Fox and go to smaller, more loyal networks that will give him the uncritical support he craves? But if he abandons Fox, he loses access to a huge portion of his base and his audience. But if he stays on Fox, he has to endure the humiliation of being fact-checked and cut off and mocked on live television. And here's what's actually happening. Trump is bouncing around between different networks and platforms. He's going on Newsmax sometimes. He's going on OANN sometimes. He's doing podcasts with friendly hosts. He's posting constantly on Truth Social where he has total control. He's trying to find outlets that will give him the uncritical coverage and unwavering loyalty that Fox used to provide. But the problem is that none of those outlets have the reach that Fox has. None of them reach as many people. None of them have the same credibility with mainstream America. So Trump is fragmented. He's no longer dominating the conservative media landscape like he used to. He's bouncing between smaller networks and social media platforms, trying to maintain his narrative and control the story. And that's a sign of weakness. That's a sign that the ecosystem that built him up is starting to abandon him, that the coalition that supported him and protected him is starting to crack and splinter. That's really problematic for Trump politically. And this is happening right before an election cycle. The upcoming midterms are going to be crucial for Republicans. The midterms will determine whether Republicans can maintain control of Congress. Republicans need to be unified going into those elections. They need to be energized and motivated. They need to be marching in lockstep behind Trump. But instead, you've got cracks developing in the media ecosystem that supports Trump. You've got Fox no longer being his unconditional ally and defender. You've got prominent Fox hosts distancing themselves from him publicly. You've got Fox reporting facts that contradict his claims. You've got his approval rating being displayed on the screen. And all of this is happening on television where millions of people can see it happening. That's destabilizing for the Republican Party. That's problematic for Trump's ability to hold on to power and maintain control of his own party. That's the kind of thing that can fragment a coalition and demoralize supporters. The power dynamic between Trump and Fox has completely shifted. For years, Trump had the leverage. He was the ratings gold mine. He was the exclusive access. He was the scoop. Fox needed him. But now, Trump needs Fox more than Fox needs him. Fox has survived without Trump before. They can survive without him again. They have a business model. They have a loyal audience. They have advertisers. They don't depend on Trump the way they used to. Trump, on the other hand, depends entirely on Fox to reach his base. Without Fox, he doesn't have a direct line to millions of conservative voters. He can't control the narrative the way he needs to. He can't dominate the news cycle. So he's stuck. He's trapped in a relationship where he has less and less leverage every single day. And Fox knows it. That's why they're pushing back. That's why they're fact-checking him. That's why they're cutting him off. They know he has nowhere else to go. The worst part for Trump is that he can see it happening and he can't do anything about it. He's complaining publicly on social media. He's attacking Fox constantly. He's suggesting he'll go to other networks, but he's trapped. He needs Fox more than Fox needs him now. Fox can afford to lose Trump. Their business model doesn't depend on Trump anymore, but Trump absolutely depends on Fox to reach his base. So he's stuck watching his favorite network turn against him, and he has no way to stop it. He can't force Fox to cover him favorably. He can't force Fox hosts to ask him softball questions. He can't force them to refuse to fact-check him. The power dynamic has completely shifted, and Trump is learning that real fast. This is the moment where we find out whether Trump can actually adapt to this new reality, or whether he's going to keep doubling down on his old strategies and get himself into even more trouble. This is the moment where we see whether he can work with Fox despite their changed approach, or whether he's going to burn that bridge and try to operate exclusively on Newsmax and Truth Social. Either way, he's weakened. Either way, his coalition is fractured. Either way, his hold on power is slipping. Fox News turning on him is the visible symptom of a much larger problem. Trump's entire support structure is starting to crumble from within. His base is questioning him. His allies are distancing themselves. Even his most loyal media outlet is refusing to give him uncritical support. And when all of that happens at the same time, that's when a political movement dies. That's when a coalition falls apart. And that's what's happening to Trump right now. The network that was supposed to be his fortress has become hostile territory. The hosts who were supposed to be his allies are now his critics. The platform that was supposed to amplify his message is now fact-checking him and cutting him off. And the viewers who were supposed to be his loyal base are now watching him unravel on live television. This is the unraveling of a presidency and a media empire all at once. This is the moment where the power dynamic shifts permanently. This is the moment where Trump realizes he's not in control anymore. And this is the moment where everything changes. Fox has made its choice. They're prioritizing facts over loyalty, legal safety over political alignment, credibility over access, and Trump is left standing alone, wondering how it all fell apart so quickly. Stay informed because this story is far from over. The relationship between Trump and Fox will continue to evolve, and every new development will have massive implications for American politics. The cracks in the foundation are only going to get wider, and the damage is only going to get worse. This is what losing control looks like, and it's happening in real time for the entire world to see.